Welcome everybody to another video. Today's topic, we are going to be talking about something that I get asked all the time, which is why do good things happen to bad people? We're going to look at a few possibilities, and some of these topics are going to be a little bit esoteric, but I know that you're ready for it. This is why you're here. You want to know, so let's get into it. So before we start, my name is Monica. If you are new to this channel, I would love if you subscribed. And I post when I can, and I try and make good quality videos with good quality topics that will help improve your self-development, maybe teach you a few things along the way. And we also talk about manifestation, other topics related to spirituality, and a bunch of good things. So stick with me, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and we will see you on the other side. So today we're going to be talking about why certain people always feel stuck in their life, and why there's other people that always seem to get lucky and just seem to coast through life without any trials or tribulations. So first of all, let's get one thing straight, is that we need to understand that life is a constant stream of learning and lessons and growing and developing. And even though there are people out there that are seemingly always having it together, nobody is immune to pain, suffering, temptation, hurt, sadness, joy, laughter, ecstasy, bliss, and true happiness. So what we need to do is to understand how to find a balance between all of those emotions. Our world is a world of duality, so there is always, a yin and a yang factor. And how can we bring these two sides together in order to live in flow, in order to live in a, in a life that seems more purposeful to us, more in alignment with our soul's purpose. And let's not forget, even though someone may seem to have it all together, we don't know their struggles, just like nobody knows our true struggles except for ourselves. Life is always constantly trying to teach us something, even in the most smallest moments of our lives. So it's definitely a curious concept of why good things happen to bad people and why bad things happen to good people. It's hard to understand. So this is what I'm talking about when I said earlier in the video that some of these things are going to be a little more esoteric, a little more less discussed in mainstream, but more meaningful in terms of understanding why this is a thing in our life. So there are different reasons why this paradoxical phenomenon occurs, and we are going to look at a few different reasons. Now, in a little bit, we're going to be talking about soul contracts, and I'm going to give you guys a warning that it is going to be a tough pill to swallow when we start talking about soul contracts. It's not a super popular opinion, but I'll explain what it is and why it is so important for us to understand and realize about soul contracts. But my thing is if you found yourself landing on this video, then Spirit is telling you that you are ready to hear and learn about soul contracts. So this is already off to a good start for you. But first, let's quickly tap into perspective. So I would say that this is probably one of the main reasons why good things happen to bad people or bad things happen to good people. I truly believe that we all are good. We all have a good inside of us. Even, think of the worst individual on the planet or that's ever existed. They were not born evil. I truly believe that within my heart and soul. I believe that we are beings of divine love. So, whether that means, born of God or born of source or universe, either way, I believe that we were born from something that was pure and loving and just at the very least neutral in its respect. So when we talk about perspective, let us understand that we are observers, okay? So the same encounter could happen to 5 different people, and we could have 5 different reactions or 5 different solutions or 5 different outcomes of the same encounter being experienced by 5 different people. And I think we can all agree. I mean, think about, encountering a rude cashier at a store. One person might brush it completely off. Another person might engage in confrontation with that cashier. Someone might experience empathy for that cashier. Someone might just be completely angered and emotional and, you know, hold on to it for the rest of the day, or take it personally. So the rude cashier is just an example of how our perspective, what lens we look at different encounters in our life, or just life in general. What lens are we looking through when we go through our day-to-day lives, and when we go through our thought processes each day and how we see things, okay? So when we talk about perspective, we're talking about what constitutes as good and bad encounters, or good and bad people. You know, something that may seem good here is actually considered bad somewhere else. And obviously this is a subject of morality, and morality is subjective. So, you know, think about how you are looking at your life right now, and how you speak to yourself, and how you speak about your life to yourself and other people. How are you viewing your own life? And we can break it down into instances and blame external factors, but at the end of the day, what is your perspective on your life? And what is your perspective on other people's lives around you? And how does it correlate or clash with what you think your life is? Everything is a reflection. It's like we are looking into a mirror, and whatever is being reflected back to us is a reflection of our realities. But when we're talking about why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people, is because of the perspective that this individual has. And you know what? Sometimes what may seem bad to you could actually be not that big of a deal to the person who's actually experiencing it. So that's something to consider as well. Now, obviously there's way bigger things out there that, you know, I think as a collective we can say is a bad thing. Like, you know, experiencing your house burning down at that moment, for the most of us, I would say, would be a bad thing. But down the road, it could mean a bigger home. It could mean moving into somewhere that's a little more in line with what you really like. There's a reason why that home burned down. Now, you don't really think about that when you're watching your home go down in flames, but down the road, it could mean something bigger and better for you. Everything we experience is also, like I mentioned before, an opportunity for us to learn and grow. Even the small instance of the rude cashier, how we initially react to that. So even the simplest moments can offer some profound insight. What about children? Bad things that happen to children. From child abuse to starvation to having special needs to being physically disabled. Anything that has to do with a child is a really sensitive topic. So as we go into this is where you need to start having an open mind. So we're going to get into soul contracts, and this can explain why, you know, children, bad things happen to children, for example. And even though we're just talking about children in this moment, still keep in the back of your head good things happening to bad people, bad things happening to good people, stuff like that. Am I always gonna get that mixed up? Probably, but you know what I mean. So soul contracts are agreements we make with our loved ones, our spiritual tribe, like our spirit guides, and any other souls that we share our incarnation with. We discuss lessons that we hope to learn and which ways to go about them and how to learn them. Now, don't confuse this with free will. So our personality gives us free will. And this is why life changes occur that we are either accepting of or resisting of. So Earth is basically the stage of which our personality enacts or deviates from the script that we wrote pre-birth. Okay, so soul contracts are basically instances and lessons that we determine we want to experience in our earthly lifetime. Now, we have free will when we live, but there are certain points of the map in life along the way that must be met or encountered in order to sort of find our treasure, find our way home, or bring us back into a path of alignment. And we are creators of our own experiences, and any unplanned challenges that we have that can occur in our lifetime vibrationally draw them to us because we need the wisdom. So our intuition is also gifted to us in order to guide us through these unplanned challenges. So a great book that you can look into regarding soul contracts is called Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. And he does a really interesting perspective on soul contracts. Basically what he does, his format of his research was he took 6 different challenges from terminal illness, AIDS, cancer, he also death of a loved one, special needs children, there was blindness, addiction, unfortunate unforeseen accidents. So he takes these moments in life and actually finds people who are currently or have currently experienced these moments, these traumas. And he interviews these individuals who are experiencing this, and with the tools of hypnotherapy and he accesses gifted mediums in order to tap into their subconscious mind and their spirit to find out why they chose these specific roles. And these people don't understand soul contracts. They don't know about soul contracts. They're just brought in for this research, and then he goes through these findings and talks about soul contracts and how they all begin and how they all start. He also explains how we each have a role in our life. We each play a role. So all those souls that are part of our spiritual tribe, those souls that we, share our incarnation with, we all have a similar, or we all have a specific role that we choose to play in this particular lifetime. So even those people in our lives that seem to have a negative role, for example, the abandoning mother or the alcoholic father, those people agreed to play this role in your life, not only to help you learn and grow, but also to help them learn and grow. So it is definitely a equal partnership, I guess, or an equal collaboration, I guess you can say, in order to help grow spiritually. An example is a deep, compassionate soul who wishes to see herself in a more compassionate role. So they may choose to incarnate in a highly dysfunctional family. And it is with that treatment of lack of compassion where that soul starts to appreciate that virtue more deeply. In the absence of something is when it best teaches us its value, is, somewhat, the saying goes somewhere like that. So the lack of compassion will force her to turn inward, where she will remember from her own compassion that she was innately having in her soul, which is, we all have compassion in our soul. But this is a particular example of where a soul would like to learn how to appreciate or tap into this experience of being compassionate as a human being. So the contrast between the lack of compassion in her physical world and her inner compassion provides her that profound understanding of compassion, and in turn her true self, her true nature. Another example is a child who reveals to his or her parents their true sexuality. And when the reaction of the parents is unfavorable to the child, then this lesson can be a lesson of compassion for the child as well. It can also be a lesson of truth, how, where telling the truth will lead them, and they will have a choice of which path to take from there. And when we talk about the role roles in our life, those parents chose to react unfavorably. So their soul already kind of knew that this was going to happen and that they were going to be unfavorable to their child. And this was an agreement that they all had within each other before birth. So even their role as a unaccepting parent, they have their own lessons and their own teachings to draw from by reacting this way with their child. And at the end of the road, it could be either they have their own sort of insecurities to deal with, their own discomforts, their own lessons to learn from having to experience a child reveal something about themselves that the parents weren't expecting or accepting of. The next thing I want to talk about when we are looking at why good things happen to bad people and why bad things happen to good people has to deal with karma. And I really want to talk about karma for a second here because I feel like that word has really been diluted over the last few years, and everybody just talks about karma like it's a one idea thing, which is what goes around comes around, when actually karma is so much more than just that. Everyone on this planet, from a young child to a guru mystic, has karmic debt in some way, shape, or form. If we didn't have it, then we wouldn't be here on this physical plane, on this planet, to experience life as it is, to clear our karmic debt. We plan these challenges in order to balance our karma. Karma is often conceptualized as cosmic debt, which is karmic debt, cosmic debt. But it's also described as unbalanced energy within ourselves or another individual. These typically are members of our soul group, those other members of our soul tribe that are at the same evolutionary stage as we are with those people that we've shared many, many lifetimes with. So for example, in our past lives, maybe we played the role of the husband or the wife or the caregiver, and now in this lifetime we are the opposite role for that person. So if you were the husband, now you are the wife and they are the husband. Or if you were taking care of, your elderly mother, now you are the one that needs taken care of, so these are different ideas, different perspectives, different ways where we, can live out our karma in order to help balance that debt. Now this becomes a little bit more difficult to grasp when we think about those horrible moments in life, okay? So, but those bad things that happen to us, those moments in our life where we're like, why me? Like, why did this have to happen to me? This is when it becomes really difficult, because then karma is kind of like, wow, I'm being punished for something. But we have to understand that karma, universal energy, is not here to punish anybody. It's not a punishing, negative, mean, and spiteful energy. Karma is definitely the complete opposite of that. Like gravity, so we live with gravity every day, but we don't punish gravity when we trip or fall. Gravity is neutral, just like karma is neutral. It is a neutral type of energy. So we don't feel victimized when we fall to the ground. We don't start, raising our hands up to the sky and cursing gravity. It's the same concept, the easiest way to understand karma, okay? So between our soul contracts, our karma carried over from our past lives, and our ability to change and alter our perception on our life experiences, we can connect the dots and start the process of understanding why these things happen the way they do. And we have to also understand that life is happening for us and not to us. So even if you can understand that concept just for a moment, or sit with it and start to realize that life is here to give us an experience. We are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. This is what we truly are. We are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. And this is part of our growth here on this planet. although some of these concepts might be a little bit tough to swallow, especially when we are going through a moment in our life that really sucks so bad and we're like, I didn't ask for this. This is not what, there's no way I would pre-plan this in my birth meeting, in my pre-birth meeting, in my soul contract. Monica, why wouldn't we just write a soul contract that was beautiful and blissful the whole entire way? Well, the answer is a little bit obvious and not so obvious. The answer is we would never learn our truest potential. We would never be able to experience just how strong and how amazing we are. It's in the face of adversity that we find our true strength. We find our spaces to grow. So this is why we choose to experience different hardships or different lessons in our life, and why we have karmic energy to carry over, why we have that balance. So when something great happens for you, celebrate it with love. When something less than great happens for you, celebrate it also from a place of love. It is important though to go through the emotions that you're experiencing, go through those feelings and let those emotions surface. Deal with that, okay? Let it all be free, don't repress it, let it come out. Learn what these emotional experiences can teach you in that moment because of that moment, okay? Feel the pain and feel the hurt. Life isn't always rainbows and lollipops, that's for sure, but we need to experience the emotion as part of our spiritual development, our growth, and our emotional growth. Keeping the focus on our heart and not our ego, this is what will change your perspective of why good things will happen to bad people and bad things will happen to good people. It's all about perspective. It's all about our karmic debt, our karmic energy, our soul contracts, bringing that dual world, that world of duality into balance, being in flow and being in alignment, checking in with ourselves often, and understanding that our perspective is really the first step to changing and creating our reality. You know, like I said, if you found yourself landing on this video, this is definitely the right timing for you to listen to it, to experience it, to run with it, to research it. Check out that book, Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day as best as you can make it. Change your perspective if it's not so good. There's always a silver lining, my friends, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe, and much love to you all. Bye.